And for the second time today, the music didn't work. So,
I was wondering.
So we will just jump in live. We're live, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Night CrossFit Talk on Clydesdale Media. My name is Scott Schweitzer. As you know, her name is Jamie Latimer. And we're so excited to have with us Sam and Kelly Crivet.
Yep.
They are the organizers of Fight for the Fittest in Brentwood, New York. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
We're good.
I'm great. Am I correct in that this is on Long Island?
Yep, on Long Island, and you said it right. Some people say in Long Island, but it's definitely on Long Island.
So my college roommate was from Long, and it's more a hard G, right? Long Island.
Yeah.
So my college roommate was from Long Island, and I used to go up there on weekends to hang out. Love it up there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
So, so you guys have secured an arena. You're doing teams of 4, the traditional CrossFit game style, 2 men, 2 women.
Correct.
And this is the second year you're doing this in a row?
So this is the second year we're doing the team. We've done individuals, we've done partners, probably 7 or 8 competitions, but this is the first time that we're taking it out of the gym space and into an arena, really looking to expand it to a legitimate competition now.
Nassau County Coliseum or?
Suffolk. It's
I mean, Nassau Coliseum would be great. But
so yeah, we tried. But yeah, Suffolk Federal Credit Union Arena. So that's Suffolk Community College out there in Brentwood.
Okay. So have you gotten spectators in the past that you expect this to be like a really big event?
Yeah. So with the team event that we did last May, we had about 50 teams and we had tons of spectators, but the event was outside and in. So that allowed for people to be camping out. There was a big parking lot at MoveFast Lift Heavy Gym, and that had tons of spectators. This facility has no limit. So, I mean, it's full bleachers. The size of the facility is the size of a regulation track, and that's what they do. They do track and field inside. So it's a massive complex with locker rooms, lots of bathrooms, pools, concessions. So it has the potential to have, that big stage.
So you mentioned move fast, lift heavy. There seems to be a connection there. Do you guys CrossFit yourselves?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We ran our competitions out of our friend's gym in Rocky Point called RX Fit, and we met with Move Fast Lift Heavy, and we moved the competitions there for the past 2 years, and we became close with them as well. Their team there with Christian Harris and Deb Graff, who helps us run the event. That's been a good partnership for us.
We've slowly over the years kind of just been outgrowing facilities one after the other. So the next natural step at this point was, moving it outside the gym, like Sam said, into an arena, because we want to continue to grow. And the only way to do that is to allow more teams and more space.
So Christian Harris is very famous from that group, and you have him doing your programming?
Yeah. So he does our programming, which is really helpful because team programming is actually really difficult. The individuals, the partners, that was very doable, but the team concept is difficult. And since he did it for so many years at such a high level, that's been a big upgrade.
Yeah. And to be one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah. I mean, last year they finished 4th, just shy outside the podium. And, to bring that now to a competition, on a regional standpoint, he's really excited about it. We love having him.
Yeah. So I think you told me that the workouts will be announced soon.
This week, we're hoping. We just finished shooting demos. We've been testing these like crazy. We want to get them out as soon as possible for people, so that way really people can make a decision where they stand. But I'm looking at this week to get our first one out, which will probably be our pool workout. And then every day I'll get another one out. So there's 5. And then there'll be a final.
So it has swimming, so it's a legit comp.
That's what we're hoping.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's what we hope.
This year, what we did for the first year is the RX and the elite teams will swim. The scale teams will have a version of matching stimulus. And then we're hoping in years to come that we can add in different aspects. That the grounds has the ability to do a trail run. They have a turf field. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do with this facility if we have the backing that I think we will from the community.
That is so cool. big questions. Are there still spots available for people to sign up and register?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had an early bird registration and we're about at 50% capacity. So for September being 5 months away, I'm very happy with that. The most people are still waiting to find out if they should be doing RX or scaled or elite. So they can sign up. They can go to Conquest Events, or they can go through our website, which is
fftfcompetitions.com.
And yeah, so they could still sign up for that. But we do expect it to sell out. The elites will fill in later as we see what happens over the next couple of weeks. But we have sold out every event we've done so far, and we're hoping to have 500 athletes there that weekend.
Wow, that's really awesome. How do you prevent Christian Harris and Christine Best like teaming up and doing a scaled team?
I personally vet every athlete that signs up. So for the scale this year, you're actually allowed to participate because that is more of a community division. There's no cash prizes in that. RX is regulated very carefully. So we have elite level restrictions. So how many elite athletes, and we have a definition of what we consider elite over the past several years. And I vet the teams. I go through each person and I look them up on CrossFit Games and look at their social media and I tell them no or yes. And we don't have to do it that often, but we've done it before.
Yeah, our registration page has the information as to, guide people if you've competed at the games or at semifinals or, or at a higher level athlete, which division you are allowed to participate in and at what capacity. We do it because with cash prizes, we want it to be fair for the average CrossFitter to come in and be able to have a chance. It's not fun for everyone to have someone come in and just sweep the competition because they signed up lower than they really should be competing.
So if Jamie would sign up in the RX division, she would have to get a bunch of schleps like me to compete with her to stay RX, right?
Well, we'll have to look at everybody's scores and we'll see.
But we did take that restriction off the scale division because people like Best who she has a community, she has a gym, and if she had members that wanted to do it that were scaled, we did want to encourage people to do that. As keep it competitive, but there's no cash prizes in that. So we were a little bit looser with that and we want to try to encourage that.
Yeah. I think that's like a subtle thing that the average CrossFitter wants to know. Right. They don't want to go and just get smoked at a competition. They want to make sure that it's for them, cash prize or not. And I like that you guys do that.
Yeah. And it's been nice. I've been in the situation where, in my stalking or vetting or whatever you want to call it, I have reached out to athletes and be like, listen, you don't belong in this division. And they've almost been in self-doubt. Like I belong better.
We've had some
talked
pushback.
People up, and I've talked some people down and it usually works out to their benefit as well. It's interesting, but only once or twice maybe along the way we've had someone try to sandbag it,
So how well are you guys doing on volunteers?
So that's a good topic to bring up. So volunteers is always tough because we don't own a gym. So we don't have like our community of members to pull from. Like I know a lot of people I speak to, like Tim from Metcon Rush, like they have these communities and people, get involved real quick. We've built a community. We're doing okay. We always need more, always tons more. And then we've also partnered with the AFJ, and they're going to come and send a crew to help us with our elite level teams and our RX level teams. So to help kind of offset some of that judging, they're going to provide for us a little bit as well.
And it also creates an opportunity because we're not filling every judging position from the AFJ. So we still want to have those community level volunteer judges who have experience but want to learn more. And they're going to be working alongside the AFJ judges and kind of getting some, on the ground training and some assistance there, which is nice. And but volunteers, especially at a facility this size with the athletes that we're hoping to have, competing, we always need bodies for the whole weekend. So,
and it's anything, if you have no experience, it's like the perfect opportunity.
Right.
We have this, anything available, whether it's scoring or,
ticket sales and things
crew,
like that.
anything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What I love about that is I came up through the volunteer ranks in CrossFit before I did this.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to be a judge, but I didn't know what I needed to do to get there. So if you want to be a judge and you go just do the community event, but you're working with the AFJ, you get to kind of see what you need to do
Right.
to get to that next level. And there's a ton of people out there that want to move up through those volunteer ranks.
And that's exactly what we have planned with the AFJ. Like, so when the scale division is going, we want to use those new judges that are learning, and the AFJ is going to be there to support those people. So it's going to be kind of a good opportunity for them to learn and to connect with them, because they're a growing association as well, and they need more bodies too.
Yeah, my first job was handing out T-shirts to volunteers, and then by the end, I judged regionals before they went away, and so you just got to figure it out and work your way up, and it's awesome.
The best way to learn to do something is to do it.
And we've had volunteers who've been with us from our first competition and have done almost every competition with us, and that's exactly what it is. You know, they come in and they're handing out, you know, the swag bags, and they're checking athletes in, and then by the last event or two, they're on the floor judging, and you know, some of our best judges, because they've been around, they know what we expect, and we've worked with them, they've worked with other people. It's just a great community experience.
Yeah. So they can sign up for that through the same website as registration and Spectators. And if anyone has questions, they could DM and I'll answer personally if they're not sure if they should be doing it, or they're afraid. I'll talk them into it.
You say prizes. You're actually giving prizes for both Elite and RX, which is very unique. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So one of the big things when we started Fight for the Fittest, you know, the first year, was that we felt like the average CrossFitter who puts in so much time and effort to train for these local competitions weren't getting, you know, that feeling of being what the elite get with all the prizes and the swag. So from our very first competition, we actually went out of pocket before the first event and bought tons of prizes, barbells, weight vests. We just wanted to spoil them. And that's kind of just been our, you know, the way we do things ever since. And when we decided to add Elite, this is the first time we're actually opening an Elite division. We did not want to take away from our RX division. We wanted to, and even our scaled, we want to give them, you know, that same experience of working and being rewarded and feeling like a high level athlete. So for the Elite and RX, we do have cash prizes. We definitely were toying with the idea of cash for scaled, but again, just for, you know, people obviously not wanting people to go, you know, to compete down, we're going to be doing a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be like difficult to walk away in one trip with all the stuff that our sponsors, because we have fantastic sponsors and they hook us up with tons of prizes as well. But the Elites will have cash, 4,000, 3,000, and 2,000.
Yeah.
I have it written down. And then the RX first place is 1,500, and then the cash prizes go down as well from there. So, you know, we do want to really grow this elite level competition for teams that, you know, maybe just missed out on the games, that missed out on semis. There's not a ton of team competitions, especially in the Northeast. I know that because it's hard to do, you know, logistically, equipment wise, spacing, timing, it's hard to do. So we're hoping that we can kind of become a staple for teams going forward.
Awesome. Well, guys, it's been awesome having you on here. I'm really interested in doing some media coverage on some more local competitions this year. So I'd love to reach out to you and maybe come up to the show, and
we would love to have you
do a behind the scenes.
I would love to have that. We have Lauren coming out, and we have a great media team with Be Relentless.
I'm great friends with Be Relentless.
They're awesome.
He's a good dude, and we're so excited to have him. So that's our first time working with him. So yeah, let's talk more, and we'd love to have you.
Awesome. Well, what I'll do is I'll cut this as a separate clip later, so you can use it to promote and share it wherever you need to. That'll be within the next day or two. I want to thank you so much for being on. You guys have been awesome.
Yeah,
thank you so much. I'm glad you're feeling well.
Yeah, thank you, and good luck. Good luck with the competition.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, that was Sam and Kelly Kivett from Fight for the Fittest. I want to thank them so much for being here. It was awesome getting to know them, and yeah, it sounds like a great competition.
That sounds awesome. It is. There are not very many team opportunities, so that's really cool. They've added that.
Yeah, and you know, there's some bigger competitions that don't give out the cash prizes they're giving out.
Yeah.
So support local.
Mhm.
Good evening, guys.
Good
Carolyne
evening.
Prevo, how's it going?
Not too bad, you?
Good. Third show today. Just logging
You have
it
been
in.
at it.
So how has you were going to do a mock this week, right?
I did do a mock. I'm sore. My legs are sore.
Jamie did the real thing. We'll get into that in a minute. But I had to ask Jamie, Welcome to Wrexham came back.
Yeah.
Have you been keeping up?
No, we haven't started it. Is it amazing?
Oh, it's just as good as always. Just as good as always. You'd love it, Carolyne. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, you got to watch it.
So it's Wrexham is the soccer team that Ryan Reynolds bought. And they were like out of the Champions League in England and trying to get back in, try to get promoted. And that's what it's all been about. But what you'll appreciate with it, along with that, when they bought the team, they bought the women's team as well. So, and in season 2, they really started to feature them along with the men's team in the season. And they were trying to get promoted as well. And I don't want to spoil anything for anybody on the first 2 seasons, but
it's on Netflix?
It's Hulu.
Hulu. Okay.
It's actually on FX is what it airs on, but Hulu has the streaming rights.
See, Andrew hasn't even watched the new season. It's not just me.
Yeah, I'm 3 episodes in. Guys, come on. Let's go.
I've been busy.
So, yeah. It is like watching a season of a sport, this show. Because they climb and fall in the standings and you're like, and then they show like game clips and your heart's falling when the other team scores, and it's just crazy. But it's as good as watching sports. Kenneth is making a snide remark. They have Hulu in Canada?
I'm not sure. I think so. I think I can get it. I probably don't have it. That's why I don't. But I don't really watch even much Netflix at all. Lex does more Netflix or shows.
So, like, for me, there's a Disney bundle, which is ESPN, Hulu, and Disney. And we got that a long time ago when my daughter lived here. And it's because I like ESPN. My wife liked that weird something tale, Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, yeah.
That was on Hulu. So she got Hulu, Corey got Disney, and I got ESPN. And it was a nice bundle, less than Netflix charges now. No, Andrew, you can wait till after the show, then go watch Wrexham. But yeah, I just had to bring that up because I got Jamie hooked on Wrexham last season, and now it's back, and I wanted to see if she was catching up. Lana Marcin, it's on Disney Plus in Canada.
Jamie, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
What'd you do?
Workout 4. I had ordered in our Marley Spoon box. I had ordered like the Mother's Day brunch kit, and it was waffles. It was like this really in-depth recipe of waffles, though. Like, it had yeast, and you had to make it the night before. So the boys, they did that last night for me, and then cooked them this morning. I was so full, and I was like, got to the gym, and I was like, oh my God, I need like an hour before I can even like think about. So yeah, I had that for breakfast. Then we just went out to dinner. I was rushing back here just to make this. The restaurant was so packed tonight. I mean, we knew it would be, but it was just insane. Our food was so slow.
My wife boycotted Mother's Day.
Yeah. I honestly thought we were not doing it. Like last weekend we had said, like kind of out this weekend with semifinals and then I don't know, yesterday we were getting texts like trying to figure out what we're doing. It was like, I don't even know when I'm going to be done working out, but we made it work. So
yeah, Corey's going through some stuff, and she was like, I just don't want any pressure on her to feel like she needs to be here. So
Yeah.
she goes, I'm just boycotting it so she doesn't feel the pressure to come home.
Fair enough.
And so we had a nice weekend. Just her and I did some errands yesterday and took her out to lunch. But last thing before we get to the CrossFit, Lucas had prom and he was sporting the pink tux.
Yeah, Barbie
as well as
theme.
anybody could.
You should pull that up. We should have had that ready to bring up on. I thought he looked so good. Like he really went all out.
His friends wore black, but I was like, come on, guys, it's Barbie theme.
I know. And I kept telling him, like, because I had ended up ordering like 6 of these suits for him to try on. And I was like, ask your friends if they want to try one of these on, like before I send them all back. I don't know. I don't think he asked. There he is. Oh,
He looks so good. So good. So jealous.
he did look good. Yeah, he was a stud. He said he got lots of compliments. So
yeah. Well, and this is gonna sound bad, but like I love the print in it too. Like it's just not pink.
I know. Right. Yeah. Like the first one we had ordered had like flowers in it and it was like real sparkly. It was like a bit much. And then the one that he said he liked was a straight up plain pink suit. And it was just not as like, I don't know, it just wasn't as unique as this one. And then when this one came in, this is what he settled on. And yeah, I was really happy with it.
Yeah. And he had a good time?
Yeah. I don't know how much he dances. I feel like those boys just like stand there. But he said he had fun and he said he did dance a little bit. So it was at MSU's stadium, like up in the press box area.
Oh, nice.
I've never been up there, so I sounds like it was really cool.
Yeah. That's really cool. Anything like that. Yeah, I had a conference one time at the Kansas City soccer stadium in their press box. We had a work conference overlooking the field. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you had a busy weekend. It was Age Group Semifinal weekend. We did a little show with some guys this afternoon. All the ladies I'd reached out to were like, I'm doing a workout right at that time.
Yeah. When you said the time, I was like, that's when I said I'm going to the gym.
But I did get Ryan Redkey, Corey Leonard, and Dex Hopkins to jump on. And whenever you have Dex and Corey on, they're the chatty Cathy doll that just pull their own string.
It was so good.
It was a cooking show too, Scott.
Yeah, it was. Dex was meal prepping for his workout.
I loved it.
But I had a blast. They were so much fun. Wasn't sure Ryan knew what was going on, but he seemed to be playing along.
He did great. It
It
was off the rails.
So we talked about a lot of things. And I want to get your impression of some of those. And that is, first of all, where you sit right now is a little tenuous.
Yeah.
You're currently in 43rd, but your weakest workout was out of the way.
Right.
You've said on here before that the torn labrum, it hurts most, or your shoulder is most unstable in a snatch.
Yeah.
And it
could be mental too. Like I don't know.
Yeah. We talked about that off air and that can stay private or whatever, but you got it out of the way and you didn't fall clear to the bottom. You're still middle of the pack.
Yeah. I mean, there was like 50 people who also didn't snatch that final bar. And I think I was 6th out of those 52 people who didn't snatch that bar. So my tie break was pretty good.
Yeah, it became a tie break workout for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We had 2 people at my gym in the semifinals. One's a 14-year-old boy, and then the other one is a 65 plus. So really both end of the spectrum. But then I started looking at their leaderboards, and sure enough, like there's like just a chunk of people at, whatever weights where people don't lift at that weight. And just
Mhm.
becomes a tiebreaker. There's like
Yep.
20 people that were tied, and for your division, there was what, 50 you said?
I
Wow.
think it was 50 people, maybe 46, 40, I don't know, at that final bar.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So if people don't know, you're sitting in 43rd.
Yeah.
They take 40, but
Mhm.
you have two pretty good workouts for you coming up.
I hope so.
So I have confidence that you will be well above that 40 spot after the
Yeah.
weekend's over.
Yeah,
After
me too.
seeing Rudy do his and seeing your times, I'm confident you will be in really good shape.
Did you redo any this weekend?
I have
Or
not
are you-
redone
So
anything.
you're a one and done?
Everything. I may redo number 3 tomorrow just for,
That's the ring muscle up one?
yeah, but it would probably just kind of be for like training purposes more than anything else.
Or position wise on day one of
I
games,
don't
maybe?
I don't know what they're how they're setting that up. That doesn't really bother me, honestly.
So it's again, and we talked about this with Carolyne in quarterfinals and you in quarterfinals. It's a really long weekend for 4 workouts.
It's so long. I don't like that because I don't like the testing 2-3 times, and I don't know. It's just not my thing. I think while I think 1, 3, and 4 are totally redoable, I think 2 is too much volume to redo. So if anyone redid that, holy cow, props to them. There was no way I was redoing that workout. Well, but minus the 3-minute setup and 10 seconds of jumping rope.
Seema Cannons says, I think Chase said that too, and it would have been nice for a flashy 5th workout.
There totally needs to be another workout. I'm shocked we only have 4 workouts, to be honest.
It's always been 5, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I was surprised quarters was 4. Like with that much time, it easily could be 5.
Mm-hmm.
But so then there was the leak that it came out.
Yeah, I didn't even know about this.
Right. Neither did the guys on the show today. Like they're like, we were 2 days in when we learned about it.
Yeah.
But some people had the movements in the order they were weeks before this happened.
That's insane. I
That's
got a bone
nuts.
to pick with Tristan. He needs to be in that crowd so we know these things.
Yeah, I just saw that. I had just heard that Taylor Self had it just because I saw it on Hiller's video that he was doing about it. But I didn't know that. I'm assuming if it goes to him, there's a community of people that would have it, but I didn't know how many people would have access to that. It's crazy.
Like Taylor said, people hate his guts, and he had it. And he said that on Flip and Scribble. That's where Hiller took that.
But who else have we heard that actually had it other than Taylor?
So Masters Chatter talked about it, and there were other people who had it.
Okay.
So what kind of disadvantage does that put athletes in that don't have it? Or do you just not care and you're just going to move on?
It's really tough to anticipate. Just knowing the movements is one thing. It's really tough to anticipate what the time frame would be, and you don't have the weights. Just because you knew you were rowing and snatching, how do you know exactly what you're doing? And you don't know that it's a 20-minute AMRAP. I suppose you could have practiced some combinations of things and maybe had a leg up, but you don't know what the long workout is, so you don't know which one is the one you probably want to test so that you don't have to have a redo later. I don't know.
So this is the podcast I saw talking about it. Jason Grubb had a podcast and Bob and Joe ripped into Taylor without naming him, saying he had a lack of integrity. Who has the person reporting it has the lack of integrity, or the person who leaked it? They have.
I feel like he at least was honest in saying, "Hey, I got these workouts."
Right. Reporting
that makes no sense.
But like, what was he? I mean, I guess he could have reported it earlier, but then you also don't know if that's the real thing until it comes out, and it's like, oh, I guess these were it, the text message or whatever he had. Maybe they thought that if once he had it, he should have put it out versus after the workouts were released. I don't know. Is that what they meant? Because I didn't see that podcast.
I only saw clips from it to know that the leak was bigger than just Taylor. Here's my thing. I really disagree with you, Andrew, and I'm trying not to get upset. Here's the deal. Being at Legends back in the athlete area, talking to athletes, it was obvious to me that some of the athletes had more information than other athletes about that competition. And I'm not naming names or accusing anybody of anything. It was obvious to me in the questions I asked and the answers I got that some people knew more than others and knew more about what was coming with the Age Group CrossFit Games than others.
Yeah.
So there is someone leaking information to some of the athletes. If you want to be a legit sport moving forward, that has to stop. Or you need to make your announcements way earlier for everybody.
CrossFit almost needs to hire like a few athletes that are good, that could basically semifinal games level athletes, and be like, hey, we're going to pay you a contract. And like, it's a paid job. You're on the team to test, and you're not part of any training camp or anything like that. Your job is to, test the workouts, and you're part of that little tiny circle. It's almost like you need someone that's not actively within the community. Even like people that are programming, like they're still friends with people that are competing and stuff like that. Like, it's just hard. We live like it's just an unprofessional sport in general. These leagues happen every competition almost. Like almost every competition. There's people that know the workouts or movements or something like that. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if that would even work. They wouldn't have the money to do that, but I don't even know what the solution is, because you still need some sort of high-level athletes to test the workouts. But almost everyone is connected to someone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, even if you were to hire them to test workouts, it's just hard. I think there's just a lot of people that lack integrity in general. And I don't know. It's just frustrating.
It's really frustrating. I'm to the point in my belief system that the late announcement of things is we just have to go away from it. You just have to, the workout, you have it finalized, you announce it to the world. And then you do the password stuff if it's online, or it's live and everybody has the same advantage.
You should always do the password online, because if you had access to it prior, you can't film it prior. You need to release that password so that you're still executing whatever workout it was on that day or that weekend. Mm-hmm. Like, the password thing was a great idea when they had that. But I think they just almost have to release the workouts early, because there's just too much information out there. Once the workouts are finalized, it's almost like, okay, release it.
Yep. Seema, you're making excellent points, but I don't want to name names. So I'm not pulling up your comment, not because of I don't believe you or respect you. You are making excellent points.
What Andrew says here, society in general has a problem with integrity. I agree. But like you're saying, just because Taylor heard it, he shouldn't share it. I actually think that is the issue, and it in line with what you're saying. Like, I kind of think he has that he has more integrity to try to put it out there and let everyone else be in it. Like it's unfair. And so he's trying to level that playing field by getting that out there. Like he shouldn't be one of the few that has it, or 4 people if he like is aware where it came around.
It's just tough, right? Because like he'll like he coaches age group athletes, or if he got the information for himself for the semifinals, right? Like it is an advantage for him to know that as an athlete. Like when he got released the movements of the individual semifinals, except for like 2 or something that weren't in there, like that's an advantage for him to know. And it's like it's a tough situation that he's in. He didn't ask to be put in that position to know that information. So it's, I mean, good on him for being honest with, well, what'd you say? Shut up and scribble. So
Yeah.
with JR.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just it's tough.
But why should he have it, Andrew? Like
You gotta call these up when you do that. You can't just yell at the screen, Jamie. Come on. Here we go.
So Andrew said, but he doesn't know who has it. I mean,
I don't think he's, and then he says this, I don't think he's assuming everybody has it. I think if you heard Brent Fikowski on Savon, he said if he had it, he would be the rat that told everybody, because it needs to be a level playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, everybody would call me a rat, and that's what I would do. And that's why nobody shares anything with me, because they know I'm going to rat it all out.
Well, and the one year at the games, like I think it was like 2022, I think. Like, I feel like so many athletes knew so many of the workouts. Like, I was on the bus and I had a male athlete tell me, oh, yeah, the next one I heard there's cleans and yokes and heavy deadlifts. And I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, we're going to find out soon at the briefing. And like, and then sure enough, they're like doing the briefing, and then the yoke, the clean, the deadlifts. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, how long have people known this? And I was like, this is ridiculous. I was happy with the workout because I like those movements, but I was like, people know this? Like, this is not a fair game. This is not a fair game.
I completely agree. So my last age group question, now that we've hammered that quite a bit, is I'm confident you're going to qualify after this weekend. I've seen your scores. You're going to be fine. You're going to make it to the games, and then you have a really long time before the games, because your semis are before elite, and elite to elite games is a shorter window, and then you have another month after that. So how do you do you just stop training hard and get your body recovered and then start building back up as you get closer? Or how are you going to handle that long window? Because I asked Rudy Berger the same question. And I want to hear your answer.
I don't know. That's a tough one for me. Like, I'm not somebody who likes resting or even like down regulating in my training. Like, that's been really hard for me over like the last 4 years. Like, I would honestly say I could show up to any competition any week of the year and would perform exactly as I do any time. And I know that's not even close to ideal, but I don't know. I just train the same year round pretty much. So nothing will really change probably.
You have a shoulder injury.
Well, yeah, right now I should probably try to like figure. The thing is, there's really nothing I can do. Like you said, I have to have surgery. So I don't know. Like,
and maybe this isn't a topic for here, but another CrossFit athlete reached out to you and said they tried something different. Do you have time to try that different thing, or do you think that wouldn't work?
Like the cortisone shot?
Yeah. Well, it was Carolyne Matthews reached out to you because she had the same injury.
Yeah, I think she just did a cortisone shot too.
Yeah, I thought she did PRP.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that.
I don't know if because of the extended period of time, would you have the time to try something and recover?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know enough about any of that stuff. Like, don't you have to like not work out for a while after PRP?
You
Like, isn't
probably-
it kind of like a stem cell type issue? Like, and you're supposed to not work out so like that it can heal?
I think it's your
I don't
own
know.
red blood cells. It's your own
Yeah.
platelets.
I don't know. I'll just keep working out on it. It's whatever. I'm just gonna rip it off and then we'll get it fixed afterwards. Like it is what it is.
Would,
Like,
would
I'm
you
just gonna
get
keep-
would you get surgery after the games?
Yeah, that's kind of been the plan, and that's why I just like train it. Like it is what it is. I'll work on it until it pops out of the socket completely, and it's useless, and then we'll get it healed. I don't know. I'm not smart. I just work my body till it doesn't go anymore.
Okay.
Right. I'll rub some dirt on it, Ken. You're spot on.
I'm just here to ask the question.
We'll see what Tristan has to say.
Okay. And you're working with a doctor, though. Like you could talk to them as well.
I guess I haven't seen him since
Okay.
February. So I haven't seen him since before the Open.
Because you don't want to hear what he has to say at this point.
I mean, he told me I could work out on it, and I will probably try to get the cortisone shot. That's going to be what I do and see if I can. I don't know.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, good luck the rest of the way. If you redo, good luck with that.
Yeah.
And I'm confident you'll be in there. So, we're a week out from the elite semifinals already. It seems like this season is so compressed. Is it just me? Like we're like, bam, quarterfinals, bam, age group semis, bam, we're into the elite semis. Like it's just nonstop.
I don't know. I felt like it was like this last year.
I had a lot more time to do semifinal interviews last year than I do this year.
Because the quarterfinal got pushed back. That's the issue for you.
Yeah.
Because the quarterfinal is almost 2 or 3 weeks after what it was last year. Like there was a lot of time. There was still somewhat a lot of time between the quarters and the semis. This time around, it was like quarters got done and less than a month away, boom, you already have the first semifinal. So that's why it's probably like more jam-packed. It feels like a quicker turnaround for sure from the quarters to semis. I prefer like last year's version where it went open, 1 weekend off, and then we had the quarterfinals and then a little bit more time to build for the semifinals. I prefer that over the schedule of this year, I guess. But it is what it is.
So they're here anyway. We're here. They come. Last week on Barbell Spin, they had Drew and Bosman on who did clarify some things. First is the running on workout 1 is not going to be on a machine. How excited are you for that? Or are you not?
I don't know. Like I like the machine because I get the direct feedback of like if I'm slowing down, if I'm picking it up versus like on the floor. But in terms of the race, like you just know where you are in the race. Like it's hard to, you can like a lot of times you could see just the lanes beside you last year on the flip cards that they were putting, but you couldn't see all the way down the floor unless the commentator or the person talking was announcing. And most of the time they're like behind on what they're saying. So in terms of like knowing where you are in the race, it's much better. We kind of are like last year where you can't compare between regions at all. Kind of like the magic carpet from last year where North America had the floors that were like super friction. And then you had other places that, it was sliding much better. So like I always like after the end of the semifinals just to see where I would be worldwide. And I think that takes that out now.
Yeah.
Like, because you cannot compare the routes that different people will be running. And it just leaves a lot of room for interpretation. Is it going to be like 200-meter loops? Is it going to be one long 800-meter loop? Is it outside? Is it inside? So I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more of those details. But I mean, I think running on the ground will just favor the better runners. I think the machines help certain athletes because every machine is better if you are a little bit taller, weigh a little bit more. So,
Yeah, what I think is if they would broadcast it, which they have chosen not to, it would make it a better spectator event because you could actually see who's winning. There's nothing more boring than watching air runner and a little tick thing going up than that. Vi asks a question. And she typed a long time, so we want to give her her due. Jamie, there are some games athletes who are saying they're considering doing the individual games if they qualify and the Masters games. Do you have thoughts on this? Is it good for the age groups?
Yeah, I think it's great for the age groups. I think keeping some of these like age group names relevant is only going to draw bigger crowds to the age groups, to the Masters. So yeah, if you can have someone go to the games and do well, and then what if that person shows up at their 35, 39 and doesn't win? Like that just shows you, it probably shows you a little bias in the programming possibly, but like there's just the qualifying process is just, it's just difficult and everybody's different at different stages. So I think it'd be cool to see something like that happen.
And probably added motivation for the age group athletes trying to beat that games qualifier.
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah. And exposure is exposure, right? The more you get, the better. And the age groups need as much as they can get.
And I think you'll probably see it even more in team athletes. You'll have some team athletes who then come and do the Masters.
Right. And Kenneth, that's what I was saying. If it was streamed, it'd be a better spectator sport, but it's not being streamed, which is a travesty.
It is a travesty.
So
yeah, even if they don't get the run because it's like outside and they come back in and they don't want to have like a drone or something like that, but just seeing the athletes enter every round, do their 10 clean and jerks, run out, see who's coming in and out, where people are going touch and go, singles, are they making up any ground? Just any type of broadcast would be good.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the Coliseum for the 400s with the clean ladder. One of the most exciting events I ever watched, and I couldn't even see the run. Yeah. Well, regardless, a run that I could not see, and then the clean, when they were entering and exiting, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And this is a longer run. Like, there's going to be some change. I'm so upset that they're not doing that. So the other clarification is that the lunges are farmer's carry.
Thank God.
And then he was very coy about the handstand walk. Because he was asked straight out, is it a straight down and back handstand walk? And he said, I'm going to save that for now.
Yeah, that one I'm just really having trouble visualizing. I don't get the 96, 120, and then 72. And the 72 is the same distance as the last event with the lunges. But like, yes, they can go into like 24-foot sections. Spin was saying like, one round would be 48 down and back, then 60 down and back, then a 72. But I just don't see that, like where you'd have a 48 foot line and then the next round you're going for, like, I think it would be so confusing to have different colored lines. It's like, no, this time you're going to that line. I don't know. I think it's just 24-foot sections. maybe with
For
like
sure.
a pirouette or something in the middle of
Yeah.
a box, like we had at semifinals last year, like a pirouette in the middle of each 24-foot
Mhm.
section. And it's just like a 20-foot, one pirouette, and then you come down at the 20-foot, 24-foot, kick back up in the middle, you do a 360. Just because I don't see them bringing the ramp and having that at every semifinal.
Right. I agree.
I just don't see them having that. Could they do a zigzag? They could. I don't see that. The easiest
Yeah.
thing is the pirouette that they had last year.
Totally agree.
Like I don't even see them having plates on the ground where you go over and
No. Yeah, I think it'll be the 24-foot sections with 1 to 3 pirouettes.
something like that. I just don't think it's like a 48, 60. Like, I don't know. I can't picture going different distances every time.
You would just keep adding a length. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So it was also announced that they were changing the formula for strength of region, and they were only including those individuals who are going to semifinals instead of the whole thing.
Which is what I thought it was, right? That's what I was trying to say last week.
It was not that way before.
I know, but that's what they're doing. It's like the 40 that signed up, that makes the like strength of field, right? So we had to wait until 42nd got it, whoever declined, and that's what I thought was happening.
So it was not announced though till Wednesday, and then released on Friday. Because if you follow like Halpin, like he changed it repeatedly through the week as more information became available.
Yeah.
And so we
And
have it.
like at first when he said that, I was like, okay, that's actually a good change to represent, the actual athletes that are competing and people that are going team that tried to do the quarterfinals for their regions. Like they shouldn't count technically because they're not in the field. So I'm like, okay, this is actually a good move. And then when the numbers came out, I was like, oh no. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think this is, clearly it's somewhat performance based, but I was like, ooh.
So here's my beef with this whole thing, and then I'll let you guys. I'll pull the string. We'll let you guys go. Jamie, when this was released, Jamie said to me, "There's no way that the third place person from South America beats." I can't remember what number she used. Like the 40th person from North America East.
Correct.
Or Europe.
I think the first place person would have a hard time beating 30 of the people in the North America East.
Correct. I was just being very extreme.
Like,
but yes.
I'm going further with it. And yet they get a next, like I see Oceania with the men. The men are on the come, and it with Bailey and Jay Crouch and Ricky, like that needed to be boosted up.
Yep.
And the women, they have a bunch of young women coming out of there too. I'm not sure it should go to 4, but
not this year. In regular years, yes, it's already like they got a spot added because Tia's not there. Now it's like they got 2 spots added, right? Like when Tia's not in the field, that's a spot for someone. Like it really is,
right.
Same thing. I mean, I would say typically for when Cara was competing, like if she was not there, like it's the same thing. It's like earning those spots. But so it was already like they had that extra spot because Tia switched regions.
Agree.
So your guys, so only 8 women in the West, which we kind of talked about. I think you guys are good with that last week.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be somewhere like around 7 or 8. So that's basically where I thought it was. Right.
Yeah.
Were you shocked Europe only got 10?
Very. In my opinion, Europe should have like 14 or 15 for the women. I think I would have them have like 14, the East 14, the West like 7 or 8, Asia. Sahar, what's her name? Sahar?
Hey, Kaya.
She's good. Like she's
And Shunyoung
really
Choi is back.
and Choi is good. It's like max 2 there. I don't understand the South America one where they got the extra spot.
Me either.
And the
I don't
Asia one
understand
really
either.
too. Maybe
Yeah.
I just haven't been following, but
I get the Asia one with Shunyoung Choi and Sahir Kaya.
it's because Choi wasn't in the field last year, so she's getting back her points from the year prior and someone else from the year prior that had qualified. So like that's like one of the ways that you could get more like spots. But I don't know that they've
I just don't understand the extras. Like
Europe should not have 10.
3. No.
It should
South
be-
America. But Lynn says it best in the comments. Lynn Najiri, Europe was the biggest surprise of only getting 10.
Yeah, at least 12. Like at least 12 to 13 for me, like for the East and Europe. And like the West, I think is fine at 8. That's fine. But it's like some of the other regions that got more. I was like, ooh. I tried talking to Lex about it, and she's like, hey, these are the spots. You can't do anything. And I was like, I know, but let me vent. And she's like, nope. She's like, top 11. It's all set. She's like, you don't have to worry about any other region. And I was like, I know, but still. To me, Europe got ripped off.
I completely agree. So
Yeah.
we ready to do our exercise?
Yes. I'm gonna try my best. I
I
was way
need to
behind.
pull up
So.
my list. So we are picking the people we think are going to make the games, and I have a frog. Okay. So let's start with Asia because it was the hardest. Who do you guys have for the men in Asia? It's 2 spots.
Ant Haynes.
I mean, I feel like that Setagat wasn't he qualified last year, and he was the one who backed out.
Which
for
one?
Ant to make
The one that's
that
in second?
Yes, Morteza Setagat. I feel like he was qualified last year, and something happened, and Ant took his spot.
I'll take the Ivan guy.
Yeah, I would take.
Ivan dominated quarters.
Yeah.
He did.
So Ivan Kirkisev, I have him going, and Shunyoung Kim.
Okay.
With Ant Haynes being the dark horse to get a spot.
I just don't know enough about the men on that side.
I think Setagat's gonna get one of the spots personally, and I think Ant would be the sleeper.
I think Ant will get in as one of the 2 spots. I'll pick Ivan. I'll do Morteza as a 3rd place.
On the women's side, I think we all probably have the first 2.
Right.
Sahir Kaya and Shunyoung Choi will get 2 of the 3 spots. Who do you have on the 3rd spot?
Evie Hollis.
That's what I picked too. That's just because that's like the one name that I would recognize. I mean,
That's who I have, and I couldn't come up with a dark horse. I'll be honest, I did not know any of the other athletes.
Not John Young. Do I? Not
Won Jung.
John Young. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know enough about the other athletes to come up with a dark horse there.
Me either.
yeah. All right. So then we go to Europe where it's going to be a lot easier.
Okay.
So we'll do this systematically. Jamie, who are your men for Europe?
Koski. You're not like all of them.
Yeah, just hit the 10 and then your dark horse.
Koski, BKG, Feibig, Hoffer, Benito, Branislaw, Lazar. What am I at? 7.
I wasn't counting.
Yella Hosta, and I'm gonna say my dark horse is. I wrote that down somewhere. Is this the one that has the? Yeah, my dark horse is Boss Hard.
Colin.
Yeah.
Caroline, are you going to go with your? Do I need to count as you go?
No, I have my 10. I'll
Okay.
pick a dark horse after. Koski, Lazar, BKG, Hoffer, Feibig, Benito, Luka Dukic. I think the brother qualifies, especially with that running event. He'll do well in that first one. Hoste, yellow. Henrik Kapelainen. And my 10th is Luka Vunyak.
Okay. And I actually put them in the order I think they'll finish.
Okay.
Jonakoski, BKG, Moritz Feibig, Yella Hosta, Lazar Jukic, Enrico Zanoni, Victor Hoffa, Enoil Akai, Heinrich Hypelainen, and Fabian Benito. And I actually have Luca as my dark horse.
My dark horse is the Nika Maseradzi.
Okay. Go with the women. We'll go Caroline first this time.
Woman. Laura, Gabby, Manon, Emma Tall, Emma McQuaid, Freyova, Dahlstrom. I'm going to go with Gluck, Fuliano, Kringle. What am I at right now? 1, 2, 3.
You told me I didn't need to count.
I guess Kringle will be my last one. Kringle will be my last.
I have Laura Horvat, Gabby McGowa, Emma Tall, Karen Freyova, Emma McQuaid, Mano Anganese, Elisa Fuliano, Elena Caratal, Sanahua, Andrea Solbert, and Moram Yvonne Rohr. Dark horse, Lucy McGonigal.
Decent. I have Gabby, Laura, not necessarily in that order, but possibly. Gabby likes to beat Laura at semifinals. Emma Tall, Karen Freyova, Turi, Manon, McQuaid, Van Rohr, and Vidison. And my dark horse is Solbert.
Yeah, I just outside for me, I have Churi and Solberg.
So Lynn asks me, wait, Scott, you don't have Bronislaw? This is classic CrossFit this year. Last year was heavy, pulling a sled, heavy snatches. Bronislaw doesn't have that this year. And so that's why he's not in my 10.
He just has to survive the first 2 events, damage control. And then I think he can make up some stuff. But like number 3 is what? Rope climbs? He's not very tall, right? So like some of the taller Europeans might have an easier time on a 30-inch box jump, legless rope climb, and the echo bike. Really, if you're tall on that one, like someone like Brent should do very well on that event when it's his turn.
Yeah, Bronislaw's not short, but he's not tall.
I think it's just mostly that first event for sure. Then after that, he can win the snatch one.
And the reason I have Andrea Solberg there is if she's going to ever make it to the games, this is the programming she needed.
Yeah, I agree.
And she's been on the verge for so long.
She's good.
And like anything handstand walk, she's going to crush.
I think she's going to crush that event. I think she'll win that one.
So,
yeah, that's where.
And I find in Europe, like you have like Gabby and Laura, and I might be like maybe one or two other ones. And then there's like so many that can just fight for the rest of those spots. It's going to be very exciting. And it's just like depending on execution, really, and how they're going to be feeling that weekend. It's going to be close.
So Lynn says, I have it on record that Bronislaw's been running every day.
Nice.
But it doesn't matter if you run every day if you run really slow every day.
Yeah.
It's just tough because like Europe are so known to have aerobic capacity in, you know, most of the workouts that they've excelled in throughout the open and quarterfinals. Like they've done so well in any type of aerobic work. So I'm sure there's going to be some freaks on that first one with the run. That's just going to be hard for him to get those points back, but he can even up by winning the snatch.
Yeah, exactly.
True. And like when you have a home run in these type of semifinals, it's huge. If you can get those top 5 points, like because it, like the points kind of like decrease at a certain amount. It's like in the East last year, most of the time those top 4 or 5 girls were just getting top 4 or 5. So the moment like Sydney Wells got a first place on that run and got a lot of points, it helped for her last place because it brought her way back into the mix. Versus like if you're just getting middle ground the whole time and it's just kind of fighting between those bubble players, like the moment you can have that home run, it's huge in that kind of weekend.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. It's never been easy for Braun to make it to the games. Every year is a struggle. He's not going to go in as a podium. It's going to be, he's going to be in that 7 to 13 range. So, any other comments about what's coming up? And we'll get the coverage of Saturday and Sunday this weekend for both of those, probably in the early morning hours, right?
I just think it's unfortunate for the week one to not have all the details. And like we had the same thing I've never not been in week one. I think every time I've been week one, but like it would be nice for them to know like what kind of handstand walk it is, like just the layout, the flow, and at least know that, you know, the week of, I just think because the rest of the weeks we're going to know what the floor layouts are and everything else. So I don't think that it's fair for the week one to have the adaptability also be a factor. Yeah. Like for us, we have more time, I guess, that's one thing. But like week one has the least amount of time and they also have to adapt because they're finding out the floor layout. Like why not just release like what they used to do a few years ago, those videos of someone at HQ going through the flow of what the workout looks like. I think it saves a lot of stupid questions at the briefing, and I think it makes it fair for the week one.
I like that idea. So Kenneth asks, who does Andre Houdet coach? He coaches a lot of people now.
Manon,
Hypolainen and Vividison, right?
I'm not sure.
And I know Mano for sure. But yeah, he's growing in Europe as an elite coach. So there's a lot. He has a lot of athletes. We talked about North America versus the world earlier in the week. Carolyne, you brought this up in the notes. They announced that they're going to have several formats at Wodapalooza, California, Wodapalooza, SoCal. my first question to you is North America versus the world. Do you think this is the out of box thinking that CrossFit off season needs?
Yeah, I think it's cool. This is what we talked about before the format was out, that they should do something like this where the athletes after the games, the volume can be a little bit lower. You have the one-on-ones, or you pick your 2 athletes for this workout so that they're not getting crushed by the volume because they're coming off the games. So I think something like this is cool. You saw a unique format in, what was it called? The Fittest?
FitFest.
FitFest. That worked well. People will say that this is kind of like the grid league type of format too. I'm not familiar enough with how that runs I don't think that it's kind of like the grid league, but I think it's a great idea. Something unique. And I think it's going to draw a lot of people to come there. Plus it's California. So
I think calling it grid league is lazy. Grid league movements are very different than CrossFit movements.
Yeah.
What they allow and what they don't allow in grid is what makes grid. Just because you start different people and specialists doesn't make a grid. So here are the formats. First is individual, all for one and one for all 8 versus each other. Second one is all hands. Because we go farther together, all 8 as one united front. Spotlight, showcase the team's expertise, one male and female on behalf of the team. Miami team, with love for the teams of 3, same gender. So 3 women, 3 men. And then we have a CrossFit Games team, 2 men, 2 women, repping your squad. And then captains. True test of leadership, teams captains go toe to toe.
I love it.
I do too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the captains will be voted on by the fans.
That's cool.
So
should the
I
teams
like
be voted
Kenzo.
on by the fans? Or it just becomes a popularity thing?
Ken Flap says I call it heavy hitter.
I like that. The heavy hitter format.
I think it hits all the spots it needs to hit. It's reduced volume, like you said. You're just coming off the games. You cheer on your teammates. You can pick who's good at what, and you can split it up so not anybody's doing too much in the weekend. And again, I said it last week. We used to do like a barbecue the day of the invitational. And it was just an all day watch party. And we would have a blast. And I cannot wait for this.
And it's not going to rain like in Florida. This is California here.
And the
Never
coverage
had
should be
good
better.
weather.
The television coverage should be better because you don't have a 30 wide lane field to try to cover. This is just 2 teams.
I'm excited for it.
Lynn's asking, is SoCal happening before or after Rogue? It is happening before. It is at the very end of September.
And Rogue got pushed back, I think, to November next year or this year, right? Because normally it's in October or it's like Halloween weekend, and I think it's in November this time.
Yeah, SoCal is definitely the end of September. So yeah. So I'm excited. Something fun to watch. We'll go ahead and finish up with a couple other little details. I wanted to talk a little bit about CrossFit Media. And this may be my riff for the week or whatever, but I found out that we had approved media credentials for Clydesdale Media on Monday. 2 weeks from an event in California. Try to get plane tickets and accommodations in 2 freaking weeks. And that was verbal. I didn't even get the written approval till Thursday. We've got to do better. If you're not going to have your own media department and you're relying on third-party media, they need to know if they're approved or not well before the event so they can make the accommodation plans just like an athlete does. These are the people.
When did you apply?
The first hour it was available.
Which was when?
A couple months ago.
Yeah.
So it took this long. Wow.
Yeah, like it was during the open, I think. I'd have to go back and look at my email, but it literally the first and I reached out to both Syndicate and West Coast Classic on Monday. They both gave me a verbal, and basically it was like with an attitude like, why didn't you reach out sooner? Well, I've applied. That was me reaching out. So
Oh, Trish.
Trish says they had to watch all of your videos to make sure you don't have the wrong tone. Here's my thing. I've been respectful. I show up at every press conference at the events. I do all the things I'm supposed to do. I'm a rule follower by fault. Once I've proven that, I should have a blanket approval and not have to go through an application process every single year. Now, the size of my team may differ, or what I can bring, as in photographer, videographer, whatever, may change year to year based on the venue and the space. I get that, but the organization as a whole should have an approval once you've proven yourself. Waiting till this last minute has made me pivot completely on what I'm doing this season, because I just cannot afford as a small company to pull this off. Here's the other part I'm going to say. The fact that they deny Andrew Hiller as a media person is, you can love him or hate him. He brings eyes to the sport that I love. When you start restricting people who have the ability to bring people to the table, you're going to lose the sport altogether. And then I'm going to have nothing to talk about. Is he my competition? Sure. But he deserves to be there to report on what's going on. He has proven that he has the journalistic chops to do that. With his visits to Mayhem, with his 48 hours with Haley, visits to affiliates. Hate is no rep videos. Hate is attack videos on HQ. Whatever you want to do, fine. But he deserves to be there. I'm so sick of this. I'm sick of them because with personal vendettas doing certain things. And it goes back to the days of the vendetta against Matt Fraser and not letting him go to the Invitational. They do it to athletes. They do it to media. Whenever there's someone who speaks out against them, they blackball them in ways that is not fair to the sport. And you're going to screw over the sport. And then I'm not going to have anything to talk about in the venue that I love. And it's got to stop. So
I just think more media, the better. Like, especially if they're not going to be investing that much in their media. I don't understand why they restrict the lenses, like the lens length. I don't know anything about cameras and stuff, but like, why not allow people to, showcase their media side and promote the sport through their channels? Like, I think that would only help grow the sport. I don't understand that part.
Yeah. I do understand certain aspects, right? You can only have so many photographers in the pit.
Yes.
Right. And the frog is back.
But you mean like anyone? If I bought a spectator pass, why can't I bring in a camera lens and shoot from the stands?
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Like, why not? Like, who cares? I mean,
yeah,
people are still going to watch the broadcast. People are still going to listen to the broad. Like, are they that scared that people aren't going to watch the broadcast? Like, people are going to watch the broadcast,
right?
There are lenses though that are and I can't even show it on the screen because it's too small. Right. You do have to limit the lens in the spectator area, or people are going to get hit in the head.
Okay.
Like,
True.
Sure.
but it can be realistic, like more reasonable.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, we need as much media coverage as we can get.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't even have day one. The teams get half of their competition show.
Yeah.
Right? Because the teams only compete 2 days and you just cut one of their days off.
Yep.
So, I mean.
Well, and things like this happen, like Dave saying after the fact last year, when nobody was covering Masters except for an iPhone from the rafters and a still frame out where nobody could see anything, said on his weekend review to people that said, oh, I would have covered it, which I would have been one of them, said, well, you should have. But your media agreement makes it so we can't.
Correct.
Like left hand talk to right hand. But anyway. It's what nobody, there's no official stream to compete with when they don't do one.
Like you would think that on day one, they'd be like, we're not going to stream. However, feel free to stream it, on your own platforms.
Well, and everybody's brother, sister, partner, whatever is IG living it from the stands anyway.
Like who did it last year? Was it Chase? Was it Get With the Program, or was it the CrossFit podcast? Like what platform was it on?
I think it's the CrossFit podcast.
Yeah, it was Chase and
Adrian Conway. But I think it was Chase that kind of started the movement.
Are they should be at least allowing that and allowing them to do something.
Well, Chase is doing the recap show, so now he doesn't want to cut into his own other ratings.
And then bring back Jason Khalipa, just getting so excited off of everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're having Adrian and Chase do the recap show. So they'll be busy setting up for that and they can't do their own stream.
But if they're going to be doing recaps and already have some footage of the event, why not have, I'm going to say the standstill camera, but then I'm thinking about the game's age group.
Yeah.
Standstill camera and how bad that was. And it was like, okay, don't even show it because it was so far away.
I don't know. Something is better than nothing, I think.
I still think something's better than nothing, but the age group one at the games was pretty pathetic.
I think so many people said something's better than nothing. They tried to prove us all wrong.
Yeah, they literally, it was so far away.
Literally, though, if you parked an iPhone in each corner and used just this StreamYard and bounced between the angles,
yeah,
you could do a better job than a lot of things. Anyway, riff's over. I just had to say that.
So we need to go to East and stream, is what you're saying.
I don't know, maybe. Well, I talked about a pivot, so I did want to make this announcement. So what I've been doing is reaching out to really cool, like local comps that are bigger than like just a local comp.
Yeah.
To offer my services to come in and do like a behind the scenes of their competition. And one of the first ones I did that with was Fresh Coast, which is on Lake Michigan, up in Michigan. And I knew of it because they came on the show last year and Jamie has competed there for the last several years. And it got kind of famous because now Rich Froning goes and competes there with a team. Reached out to them. They have given me approval to go in and do a behind the scenes of that event in July. And so I am super, super excited that we're going to be able to do and highlight local competitions, local athletes that bring in some more, because Jack Rosema competed there. Rich Froning competed there. There's semifinal athletes and other athletes that do that. And we can kind of feature them and give them the highlight they deserve. So we're going to do that this summer. And I just offered my services up to Fight for the Fittest. So we'll see what we can do there. And maybe go up to New York. Haven't been to Long Island in about 30 years. So go check that out and see what's going up there.
Maybe we can go stop in at Jethro's gym.
Yeah, could do that. So I'm looking for stuff like that. Like I think the NorCal Classic is a cool one. That'd be fun to go do. Things like that.
You should do the NorCal Classic. That was fun.
Yeah. So, Lex is asking, no semis for you, Scott. Will you go to the games this year? I actually booked hotel rooms the minute Fort Worth was announced. So I actually have those hotels booked. So I have a better shot at the games. Knoxville, I would have to stay quite a bit out of Knoxville to go, but it is drivable. So that one is possible. But California is just out of the question with this late notice at this point. And I am committed to the Masters games. So
But I think that's a good place for you because I think that there's a lack of coverage of people with the age group, and you've done by far, the most job covering the age group athletes for the last few years, that you've become that person, right, for the age group athletes. So I think it's great that you're going to be there.
Yeah. So, and if I get the access I had at Legends, I could probably get some really cool content. By the time I figured out kind of the flow of it, at the end of the weekend, I was getting really good stuff. Like Jen Ryan laying on a therapy table, talking to me, really good behind the scenes stuff. So that's what I'm hoping to get at this one as well. Mm-hmm. So that should be fun. So if you know of a local comp that, what I'm calling them now is those mid majors, like Metcon Rush, Crash Crescendo, those ones that are really highlighting semifinal to elite athletes. I want to come cover some of those. So shoot me any ideas you might have. And then finishing up, I'm back to Around the Whiteboard this week.
Woohoo!
Semifinals. I'm going up against Will Brandstetter, and it's a level 1 guy. I didn't know the name. A red shirt. I'm sorry. So he's a level 1 trainer. Jimmy, I don't know, something like that. But yeah, that's this Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Back in the ring. Take another swing.
You came in heavy the other time, so I'm the bar is set now.
Yeah. That's the only way you score points on that show. You have to come in hot with everything you have.
In 1 minute.
Yeah. The thing is, I practiced it at 1 minute, and then when I was on the show, I talked so fast, I did it in 45 seconds. So I gotta factor that in this time. So excited about that. You guys got anything going on this week?
No, now it's just back to regular training. It just feels like it's going to be so long being the third week for semifinals. I'm just looking forward to seeing week 1 and then getting a visual of, the layouts of stuff and then playing around with different pieces of the workouts. I got a taste of them this weekend. Lots of room for improvement. We'll look at some of the next couple weeks, and then hopefully my best execution is on game day. You don't want your best execution to be right now. Right. If you're going to be making mistakes, you need that right now. So.
Yeah. It's so much different than the games, right? Because the games, you don't really know the workouts as much.
No.
Unless you're in that right.
I was just about to say, I was like, well, yeah, sometimes you do.
but Carolyne never knows.
Yeah,
No,
we're not there.
Well, I'm just not a part of any training camp or any, like, I just train literally on my own. I program, like, I'm not a part of that. So, but
There are people that know. I'm just
yeah, I'm just not one of them.
not. Yeah.
Show
All right.
up. Jamie, good luck tomorrow if you redo number 3.
Thank you.
And we will be looking on the leaderboard. Fingers crossed that everything is all good. And then hopefully you get at least a week off or a couple of days off this week. Start recovering that shoulder.
Yeah.
And hopefully
predict
getting ready
top
for
three.
that game.
I predict a top 3 for workout 4 for her.
No way.
Yeah, way.
No chance.
No
Yeah.
dice?
You're like Patrick Midgley. I was messaging with him and he was like, guarantee you're number 1 with your score for workout 2. And I was like, no way. I was like, maybe top 10. And we bet. And I won that bet, of course, because I was right.
You finished
Like,
8th.
I know. But and that's gonna be my best workout. So
Number 2 or 4?
2.
Are you going to have a celebration? Do you already have something in your mind in case you like qualify for your first games? Like, are you treating yourself to a meal? Are you like, what is your, I guess we can talk about it when it happens.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess all the changes just take all the like joy and earning it out of it for me, honestly. I don't know, as bad as that sounds.
Well, on that note, I'm going to leave you with these wise words from Kenneth DeLapp. Sometimes you know to bring a beaded jump rope. Sometimes you don't.
Well, we just hope to know. We're trying to get in that in crowd.
Yeah,
With
give us
that-
some information.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody for being here tonight. It's been a blast. We'll see everybody next time on Sunday night CrossFit Talk, the original. Bye, guys.